All right, everyone, we are back, and in the previous video we were working with sockets so that we could populate those sockets with items for our characters to carry or attach something to our character so that it follows the animation. So we created a socket for our skeleton that these three characters are sharing, for our skeleton asset that these three characters are sharing. As you can see, this character has a sword attached to his back. We've created a socket called back, which we populated with this sword. But since these two characters here are sharing the same skeleton asset, they too have access to that socket and can populate it with different items if they want. So this character could be carrying a staff, this one could be carrying a backpack, for example, attached to that socket. Now our character on the far right here is using a different skeleton asset than these three. So this character needs to create its own socket inside of its own skeleton asset for it to populate that socket. If this character was sharing the same skeleton asset, then this character too could access that socket, but it cannot because it is using a different skeleton asset. So again, just trying to drive it home why it is important, if you can, to share skeleton assets. It's just going to make your life a lot easier down the road to pass and share information between your different characters. So with that, let's go ahead and continue. In this video, what we're going to focus on is adding some animation notifies, some curves, and then we'll talk a little bit about slots and how you can use those with animation montages. And we'll show you where you can get your hands on a tutorial to kind of go down that path. So we're not going to cover it too extensively in this video because it's a bit outside of what we want to talk about related to skeletons. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's go ahead and start out by creating an animation notify. And again, an animation notifies, if I play in the editor here really quickly, animation notifies are a way to, for example, if we had a character that was running around here and we wanted to have that character kick up some dust as the character is running around, or if they're splashing in water and we wanted to create a splash effect or a sound effect associated with that, we could do that with an animation notify. We would tag a point in the animation which we want that effect to occur or sound effect to occur. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do, let's hit escape and let's go down to the content browser. We're going to find that run, as that's what we're going to be working with, the run that we were just showing off there. So I'm going to go down to the animations folder and I'm just going to search for run. And there's our third person run there. So we'll double click and open that up. Once we open that up, we will be on the animation tab of persona. And in the very center, you can see our character is running. Directly below that, there's the timeline for the animation. There's also a section for notifies. There's also a section for curves, which we'll talk about in a moment. But right now, we're focused on notifies, and we could easily add a notify, a point in this animation that we want something to occur by right-clicking on this timeline here and placing the notify. So if I pause our animation here, I could scrub the timeline wherever I want. So if we get our viewport here and say we wanted something to happen as they're running, we could scrub the animation so that as soon as the right foot touches the ground, something like so, we can then right click here and you can see there's a bunch of different options. There's add notify, which gives us the ability to add a particle effect or play a sound, which are probably going to be the most common things you're going to be doing. However, you can also add a new notify or a custom notify, which you could use to fire off Blueprint script. So say, for example, you wanted the character to take damage at a specific point in an animation, such as a fighting game, a certain frame of the animation if they connect. You could add a new notify for that and fire off Blueprint script to kick off the damage reduction, etc. We're going to probably create a new custom notify here in a moment. And we'll create a simple script to show how this works. Now there's other things that you could do as well. There's add notify state, which will allow us to add time particle effects or trails. You can also manage your notifies. But for our purposes, we're just going to add a new custom notify. So I'm going to select this, and it's going to ask us to enter a name. We'll call this the effect 1. And we'll add the notify. So whenever we get to this point in the animation of this animation, this will fire off inside of any Blueprint script where we implement this. And we're going to do this in a moment. So let's add one more notify here. If I scrub the timeline again, you get the left foot to touch the ground, so something like that. I'm going to right click here, add notified. Notice now we have that custom notify that we created. And we're going to talk about this here in a moment, why this is here. So if I add another notify, I'm going to call this effect 2. So So now we have effect 1 and effect 2 that will get called whenever this animation is playing. The reason we have this custom notify here now is that we can now add this to additional animations. So if we go over to the walk, so we open up the walk really quickly and we wanted to add those same effects, we wanted to fire off those same effects, we can do that now because we have these custom notifies. Now these notifies are getting saved with the animation asset, but they're also being saved with the skeleton asset. The skeleton asset will allow us to access these for any animation. To kind of clarify this, the animation also saves the notify, but the skeleton caches it to be reused for other animations. And the reason that we cache it in the skeleton is because otherwise we would have to load all animations to figure out the available animation notifies. So long story short, it saves it with the animation, but it also saves it with the skeleton asset. So let's go back to our third-person run here. There's our third-person run with our 2 effects in it. If we actually hop over to the skeleton asset and we go to the toolbar, there's a section for animation notifies. There's those 2 notifies that we created that are getting saved with our skeleton asset. So let's go ahead and save everything. Make sure that we save it. Let's also save our animation. So I'm going to hop back to the content browser and just save all real quick. So it'll save our animation. Now to call those notifies that we created, we're going to have to hop into our animation blueprint here. And we're going to do this real quick. So let's go to our animation blueprint. Open this up. And if this is the first time you're seeing the animation blueprint is essentially the way to kind of determine which animation state your character is in, whether they're walking, running, falling, etc., and all the logic behind all of that. We are not going to go too in-depth into this. We're just going to hop over to the event graph of this, and we're going to right-click in the graph. At the very top, it says Add Notify Event. If I expand this, there's our 2 animation notifies that we created. So if I select this, it's going to add a new node for us. I'm going to right-click again under Add Anim Notify, Effect 2. Now, whenever we get to that point in our animation, if we go back to that animation, let's just see it again real quick. So there's our run. Whenever we get to this point in this run animation for Effect 1, over on our animation graph here, whatever is connected to this will get called. So it could be whatever kind of script that you want. For our purposes, all we're going to do is just say print string, trusty print string. So when Effect 1 is called, it will print to the screen hello. I'm going to select this, hit Control-C and Control-V to paste it. Whenever Effect 2 is called, we'll have it say, let's just have it say goodbye. That is some pretty exhaustive script there. So let's go ahead and compile and save. And if we play in the editor now with our character, if we jump, nothing happens. If we stand here, nothing happens. But as soon as we start running and getting to those animation notifies, the print string nodes will get called. So we're running, and it says hello, and it says goodbye, because it's hitting both of those animation notifies inside of our run here. So it's printing to the screen those 2 print strings that we added. So that's a quick example of animation notifies. Again, you'd probably want to do something a little bit more fancier, such as kicking up dust or splashing water or sound effects, etc. But this kind of shows you how you could set that up. The next thing that we're going to take a look at actually is curves. So we're going to continue working with our run animation here. We're just going to create a simple curve that will scale the size of our character's head as they are running. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to hit escape. We'll go back to our run now. So, and there's our third-person run. And directly below our notifies is the curve section. So we can create a new curve, and similar to the animation notifies, this gets saved with the asset that we are working with, but it also gets saved with the skeleton asset so that we can repurpose those curves for other animations. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to add a new curve. And we have the option for a metadata, or we have a variable curve. It's going to be a variable curve. Now I have a couple names here because I've been playing with this in between videos. So I have, yours may be empty here, but I have a couple here that I was playing with in between videos. So I'm just going to create another one here. So I'm going to select Create Curve, and we're going to call this the head curve, like so. So it's going to add a new timeline for us here. I'm going to expand the window. And we can add some points to this to define the shape of our curve. So what we're going to do is at the beginning of our animation, we're going to be using like the default scale of our head, which is 1.0. As we get towards the middle, we're going to scale our head up quite a bit. And then as we get towards the end, we'll get it back down to our default value. So let's move the animation back. I'm just going to hold Shift, left click. I'm going to specify the time here. Set this to 0. Set the value to 1.0. Like so. And our animation is, let's see how long this is. It's 0.6 seconds. It says right here it's 0.6 seconds. So probably at about 0.3 would be halfway. So somewhere around, doesn't have to be exact, but I think that's good. Gonna hold Shift, left click. I guess I could do this as well. Let's just do that. 0.3, and we'll say our value now is something like 5. And let's hold Shift, add another one, and this is at 0.6. At the end of the animation, we'll get it back to 1.0. So we could click these two options here to make our curve fit. So there's our curve. It goes up to 5 and back down to 1. So let's go ahead and save everything. You can see our skeleton asset needs to be saved. Our animation needs to be saved because we've made modifications. So I'm going to save this. And we're going to hop over to the skeleton. Can I save it from here? Yep. So there we go. We saved our skeleton asset. Now, to implement this curve, we're going to have to hop back to our animation blueprint. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and close this out. Go to our animation blueprint. Open that up. And there's our animation notifies that we were working with. For this, we're going to actually hop over to our idle run state. And this is using a blend space to determine when our character is walking versus running, like so. And all we're going to do is implement that curve that we just created with some additional script here. Now, this might be a little bit advanced in terms of blueprint scripting, again, but we'll just kind of get through it really quickly, and I'll try to explain it as we go here. First thing that we're going to need to do is get the curve that we just created. So we can right-click in the graph here, and we can say Get Curve. Should give us some option, if I could spell it. So Get Curve Value. And it's asking for the curve name, which we called Head Curve. So once we have the value, the curve, it's giving us a float return. We're going to break this into a vector. So let's actually just make vector. It's going to give us the X, Y, and Z. So let's specify those. So. And once we have that, we're going to use this as the scale to modify the size of our head. So to do that, we're going to right-click and we're going to say transform, what is it, bone? Transform modify bone. There it is. And it's asking for the bone to modify. So down at the details panel here, we can expand this and we can search for head so that we could scale our head up, like so. So let's plug in our return value. We don't want to move the translation or the rotation. All we want to adjust is the scale. So what we need to do now is let's take this and move this over. Just move this down just a little bit. So you see we have an in pose and an out pose. So we're going to take this and plug this in. It's going to create a local to component and then a component to local, like so. Now, there's a couple other things that we need to change in the details panel for this transform modify bone. There's some parameters that we need to set. So let me go ahead and make sure I set those up real quick. So let's go down to the details panel here and let's scroll down under settings. And we want to change, let's change the BMM to additive scale. Let's change that to world space. And the input scaling, scroll down just a little bit more. We'll set this to say, I don't know, 5 and 5. Compile. So you can see, let's actually test this out now. So we should be able to test this out now. So as we're running, there's our head scaling up and down as we're running using that curve. So it's just a quick example of how you can implement curves. It's not necessarily a tutorial on curves, but showing you why you need to save your curve names and notify names with your skeleton asset so that they can be repurposed with other animations. Before we wrap here, I did want to drag in one more thing here and kind of show you this. Hop off screen for just a second. Bring this in. So the other thing that gets saved with skeleton assets are slot names. We're not going to go too much into slots here, so I'm just going to show you a page where you can get your hands on this on the official documentation under docs.unrealengine.com. If you go to the engine features, persona, under the animation how-tos, there's a how-to for using additive animations. Technically, it's using an animation montage, but it kind of achieves the same effect. There's a lot of Blueprint script in here, but it walks you through the process of setting this up, so don't feel too bogged down by it. It's pretty straightforward and shows you how to set it up. But the end result, though, is that you will be able to create a character. If I play this here real quick, that can play two different animations. We have our character that is playing our idol, and we have a character that can aim his weapon. But then we want the character to be able to aim and walk at the same time. So it's using an animation montage to achieve that by defining a slot in which to play that animation. So again, if you'd like to learn more about this, feel free to take a look at this page here, as it'll take you through the whole process of creating one. So that's actually going to do it for this video series. I want to wrap up real quickly here by recapping the important aspects of skeletons. If I go back to our skeleton here, so our character, mesh, and there's our skeleton asset. The skeleton asset, again, is just really a list of information. It's the bone and hierarchy information for the character that you choose to import. When the skeleton of the FBX asset that you choose to import, and it's just keeping track of where that information is. Now, if you share this skeleton asset with other characters that have the same setup, that will allow you to share animations, share curves, share animation notifies and slots very, very easily. So it will just make your life easier down the road. So that's going to do it for this video series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.